Stefania, can you speak to the email channel and how companies can promote themselves?
Sure. SweetSpot actually started as an email newsletter only, and the website was basically a cache of the old emails. And our formula for the emails hasn't really changed much. The keys to email newsletters is, one, if you're actually starting a list, make sure that you send that email same time every day. And don't, certainly, if you normally send one a week, start sending 3 or 4 a week, because people, no matter what, will start thinking of you as spam. So basically, when you make that relationship with your subscriber, make sure it's very clear as to what you are sending them, when you are sending it, and stick to that no matter what. Email a week, and that's it. And we certainly don't ever stray from that no matter what happens. The other thing that is very key with email, similar to web writing, is to keep it very, very short, because the attention span is short, especially when you're competing with usually 200 other emails in somebody's inbox in the morning. And make sure that it's written in a way where the information is sort of front and center, so the person can probably scan the first few paragraphs and get what they need. And we always finish our emails with all of the key information, like where to buy, a link to the website, at the very bottom of the email, and it's always in the same place at always the same time, so people know where they can go to look for that quick piece of info. So sticking to that template, sticking to the original sort of email agreement is sort of what gives you sort of the most success, where people aren't going to be dropping off and start thinking of you as spam.
Last question for all the panelists before we take questions from the audience. Were there any big lessons or setbacks, mistakes that you made running an online business or leveraging online channels that you'd like to share?
We've never done anything wrong. I'm joking.
I guess one challenge I had, I redesigned my site, and it relaunched in July, and so I moved from Blogger to its own URL. And by doing that, I lost quite a bit of traffic at first, because the sites hadn't been properly corrected, people didn't know what was going on. It was the same branding, but that was a bit of a challenge at first. And I lost my Google ranking, which is sad, so that's just one challenge.
I do have a real story. Joking aside, we actually did the same thing recently, where we relaunched our website, and it's actually the second relaunch we've done in the last year or so, because we partnered with a company that we were quite confident would be an excellent partner. They made our site very pretty, but it worked terribly. And I would be screaming from my office every day at 4 o'clock because I was trying to search something and couldn't find it. So we basically had to put the money we had invested in them and pretend like it had never happened, it was all a bad dream, and partnered with a new company that's been fantastic. So when you're looking at building your own website, I would say is the major caveat, really understand what you need, and when you're interviewing that company, make sure that their skill set aligns with what you need. So the first company we dealt with was a great design firm. They had a lot of great ideas for making the site attractive when you click on the page, but their expertise in the technology was much more limited. And the company that we're working with now is a bunch of computer geeks, and they're fantastic. And they really understand the technology side, and they've basically built an entirely customized back end for SweetSpot, which is, we're still working on the kinks that just launched less than a month ago. But it's been a much better experience. We recognize that what we really needed, and we should have gone to in the first place, was a company that wasn't necessarily, our expertise was making it pretty, but making it work. So if you just need a pretty website, then you can probably go to a company that really is focused on design. If you're getting to that sort of next level where you want to do customized searches and database and all the wonderful things we're planning on doing, you really need to make sure that they've got the technical expertise behind. So do your research, because it's a very expensive lesson to learn.
Just one word of advice for contributors, because at one point you're going to want to bring other people on who share your vision, who can just contribute to your site or to your blog from their home, because you'll probably be working from home, from your living room for at least a few years. But just make sure that maybe you read over what they're submitting. You should really be the filter of what your brand, what's going out there to the public for your brand. So that's really important, because there's a few along the way.
Okay, saw a hand up there.
launching their own product, how would you want to be approached to, a feature on them, helping them with their PR and getting the word out?
Sure. Well, for SweetSpot, the process is pretty simple. We actually have a contact box you can send an email to, and we review everything. And we really do actually read every email that comes in. I would just suggest that in any email that you send, one, make sure you know what the company, like for example, what SweetSpot is all about. We like to write about things that are new, and a compelling story in a short email saying why you are a great fit for SweetSpot, then your chances of getting on the site are much greater. And also include as much info in the email, like if you have a jewelry line, send me either a link to your website or images of your jewelry, as opposed to saying, hey, I have a jewelry line, can I talk to you again? You should hook me in on that first email. So yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Also, if you just put like a little thought behind why you think the reader, why it makes sense, it makes a huge difference, because I don't have time to read press releases. Like, it's just like if I like the product and you tell me like, I think this will be good for petite fashionistas because whatever, just let us know why it will work.
Yeah, I think a generic press release by email is probably the worst way to go, because you get so many of those, to be honest.
Yeah. I just started a business and I'm just getting my website under development. I think I work maybe 3 days a week on the business because I have a newborn child. So limited time, and I know nothing about the internet, and it just seems so overwhelming. I feel like I could spend my 3 days a week just learning. Would you suggest you hire an expert or fumble your way through it? You'll learn eventually, and maybe say 3 key things, places I should go to learn. Yeah, go. Anybody?
Sorry, what was it they wanted to do? You wanted to do a site or a...
More of a blog style, or?
Well, I'm developing, the website's being developed. I don't know whether, maybe I should have a blog, maybe I should have so many things that you could do.
Well, I do think before, like to really just sort of put your toe in the water, you can just go to blogger.com, get a very like clean blog, and just sort of, and don't even tell people about it right away. Like just put a couple posts up, like see, play around with that, and just sort of get familiarize yourself with a few things. And then that could also be used as a promotion tool for your website, and you can link to that once it's live.
I would be careful about hiring an expert right away, because that was kind of one of the mistakes that we did early on. We were hiring all these really expensive people to tell us common sense. I would start by talking to people within your circle that you know, or ask them to recommend somebody. Take somebody for a coffee, because I think most people are willing to give you at least half an hour of their time to give you some free advice. One thing that really helped us was having Google Analytics installed on our site from day one. You can see what people are searching, what brings them to your site. It's very easy to use. And then that way you have an idea of what the strengths are, how much time people are spending on your site, where they're coming from, and then it will help shape where you should go.
I guess deciding, what the outcome is. Do you want to do a newsletter? Do you want to have an online guide? Are you trying to sell something on the site? The library has some great books. There are some really good books written by bloggers, by website experts. I did a lot of research on how to market and stuff like that. And then, like Ali said, just asking someone. Like Ali and I met when I first started my site. When I moved to Toronto, she took me out for a coffee and we chatted and became friends. And she took me for a manicure. But yeah, there's no harm in asking for help or information. When I started, I emailed another blogger and said, I don't know really what I'm doing. And she was so great. She told me how to do things, how to do HTML, how to put a header in. So just ask.
Thank you so much, ladies. We can certainly see why you are the queens of the web.